It's the Slay at Home Chef coming to you today with another one of my favorites. It's my Gomen dinech. It is pretty much Ethiopian collard greens with potatoes. Now, you don't have to put potatoes. You can just have the collard greens and omit it. But this is just a very, very delicious recipe. Very simple to put together, and I'll show you some of the ingredients that I put in my dish and make it as equally delicious as my mom's or your mom's, right? So let me show you how I prepare all of my stuff, what ingredients is included, and some of the benefits. Let's do it.
All right, so here is all the things that I put in my collard greens and potatoes. Okay, obviously you need collard greens. Now I've seen that you can swap this out with kale, but I believe it or not, I am one of those people that I'm not a fan of kale, so I definitely get whole collard greens. I have 4 bunches here, and if you're thinking, well, my goodness, that looks like I'm feeding a family of 12, no. Most leafy green vegetables tend to wilt, and this bunch will actually look smaller. Over here I have 6 small potatoes, or just get equal in size potatoes. These are yellow. You can use whatever potato you have, but ideally you want either red, white, or yellow potatoes, okay? I have my mixed ginger and garlic here. The paste, I guess, is considered minced garlic and ginger. 1 red onion, and then we come over here with the spices. You definitely want salt, right? I love to put mitmita in my spice. This is considered Ethiopian cayenne pepper, right? And then just a little bit of black pepper. You don't need a whole lot. And then one of the best things to add in this dish is kororima, which is an Ethiopian cardamom. It comes in a huge pod, and inside of it comes these seeds that look like black peppercorns, right? But because I don't have that with me today, I'm subbing it with some regular ground cardamom, which still gives it a nice, delicious flavor. And that's about it, guys.
All right, so I chopped them all up, and it looks a little like this. You can already see the cloudiness from the starch and probably any other dirt that was in the potatoes, but I'm gonna dump this water out and put some fresh cold water and let it sit while I start washing my greens. All right, let's get a washing. So this part may take a little bit of time, but I swear to you, it is so worth it, okay? Eat clean greens. That might be on a shirt one day. Anyway, I really take my time in cleaning my greens because it's so important to make sure that these things are thoroughly washed. And so a couple of things that I do. First things first, I fill up my sink as much as I can with the cold water. And then I take about a half teaspoon of baking soda, okay? Sprinkle it on in there. Sprinkle it in. This is gonna be my washing agent, right? My little dish detergent. And then the only other thing that I add here is apple cider vinegar, okay? I've always believed that everything, I don't know, will this fuzz up? Probably. We'll see. And it's only a little bit. I'm not even putting a whole top full. Just to sprinkle it in there. Yeah, so just about half or maybe even a quarter of the top full of apple cider vinegar. And then what I do is I just swirl it around a little bit. And before, I mean, even washing these, I actually inspect each leaf. So I've taken out the ties, taken off the ties, and I just double check to make sure I remove any leaves that look yellow or even brown in color or just downright diseased, okay? So the ones that I've separated, I have here, and they're good. I'm gonna place it in the water, push it in there, swirl it around, right? Really good wash. Flip it upside down, let the leaves get fully soaked and drenched in the water. Sometimes I even leave these for like a few minutes while I'm prepping something else. All right, so I am chopping my onions here. I've sliced them long ways here, and then I'm gonna slice it in the middle because as much as I love onions, I like it to be cooked down and where I don't actually see it. But cutting it in half, it makes it easier to chop it a little finer. So you can actually just chop it however you like, but I like finer chops. And since I'm just using one onion, that's why I am not using my food processor today. There you have it. All right, everybody, let's get cooking. Get yourself a pot deep enough that you can put all of the greens in and all that. And again, don't worry, all of that greens is gonna wilt down and you'll have a fairly good amount of greens to eat. I love this pot because my mom gave it to me. It belonged to my grandmother, and every time I cook a dish in here, it always feels like she's right here in the kitchen with me. And it's just, it feels really good. And just to know that she had her hands on this pot, her food, all of that. I mean, I literally can taste some of, which was one of my favorites, her shiro. It is so, so good. So I love cooking in this dish, but I am gonna go ahead, turn my heat on to I don't know, actually I'm gonna keep it on high heat because I want the pot to get just a little bit hot. And then I'm gonna toss my onions. And what you'll notice in a lot of Ethiopian dishes, we tend to want our onions to sweat out first, right? So we don't put anything in the pan right away. We just want the onions to get the moisture out. So we're gonna do that. And if you feel like it's sticking to the pan too much, using that same thing, I'm gonna bring a little bit of water and just have it nearby. Toss it around. And I actually need, because this is a pot that gets hot in the handles, I do need something here. And so yeah, just kind of toss it around a little bit. And again, if you feel like it's getting too brown in the bottom, just drip just a tad bit of water, nothing too much. That way it's not sticking, or just lower your heat to about medium. So I'm just going to do that for a little bit. Just sauteing it. So after a little bit, I'm going to bring my avocado oil, and I'm just gonna drizzle in, and I'll let you know, maybe about a tablespoon, or you know, if you need it more, you can. I like to put about a tablespoon of oil in here, and then I'm gonna sort of fry the onions, if you will. So doing that. Great. So my onions are still a little purplish, right? It's still red. But I can tell that some of them are starting to lose that deep red color, and that's when I'm gonna toss about a tablespoon of oil. And maybe it was more, but there you go. Fry the onions, swirl it around a bit. And this cooking part is actually going to go fairly quickly. Once you have the onions in, you want to just kind of keep stirring. You don't want to leave any bits on the bottom to burn. So just keep an eye on that, just pushing it around back and forth. Great. If you feel like the heat is a little too much, continue to lower it or adjust the heat accordingly. So here, what you'll see, I've cooked the onions down, maybe about 5 minutes. I'm going to add my garlic. And just to kind of show you a better angle, I'm going to add my garlic now. The garlic ginger mix right into the pot here. Oh, it's about to smell amazing. Stir this into the pot really quickly, and then I want you to, just until it's fragrant. You don't want it to burn. Smells so good. Grab your greens, because after this, it's just gonna start going fairly quickly. I got a recommendation from my mom to add just a splash of vinegar after you toss your greens. So little by little, go ahead and start adding your greens in. Hopefully you guys could see that. Yes. So again, it might seem like a whole lot and you're like, oh my God, I don't think it can fit in my pot. Just take your time and toss it all in there. I do splash just a little bit of water. So just a little. And you'll automatically start to see how quickly the greens will wilt down. So while I go grab the little bit of vinegar, I'm gonna just put a top on it just for a moment. Oops, one of them escaped. Boom. Toss the lid on there. I'm just gonna lower the heat just slightly. Vinegar is to just balance out the saltiness and the flavors. I have just about half of the top full, and again, I'm just going to sprinkle it in there. Give it a quick mix. And as you can see, it's already coming down, right? So just make sure that the onions and the garlic is nicely distributed throughout your greens. Just gonna toss it just for a little bit more so that the apple cider vinegar can kind of go all over. Great. And this allows that the onions and the garlic not to burn on the bottom. So I am just kind of tossing it around like so. And then go ahead and put a lid back on and let it just simmer away. After stirring it a bit, just making sure that the greens are not sticking in the bottom of my pan, I was just dripping a little bit of water at a time. But as you can see, it got this nice, beautiful green color, deep green color. And the onions and garlic is just smelling so good in here. Now, what we're gonna do, allow this to cook just a few minutes more. So far, I've been cooking this maybe about 10 minutes. I've allowed the greens to really wilt down, but continuously stirring and adding water as needed. So from here, we're gonna add the potatoes. Oh my gosh, guys, I almost forgot one of the best ingredients to toss in this is jalapeno peppers. It's the very last thing that you would throw in here. You can omit this if you're not into too much spice, but this is just adds another level of flavor. So I am just doing a final check on the greens. It is looking good, smelling good. After I just quickly tasted one of the greens and the salt is perfect. But I do want a little more mitmita because I do want it a tad bit more flavorful and a little more spicier. So I'm gonna add another 1/4 teaspoon of mitmita, maybe just a tad bit more. Just sprinkle it on in there. And again, I'm telling you, it's not just the kick that you'll get, but you'll also get just an amazing flavor. So I'm gonna just mix that in there nice and, yep. And then we'll come right back. And to test your potatoes for doneness, one, it's gonna turn this really nice, yellowish or gold color. But you can get a fork, and if you can pierce through your potato, fine, it should be ready. So these potatoes are pretty much done. I'm gonna give it just a few more minutes because so far I've been cooking this for about 20 minutes. The greens are beautifully just this dark green color. It's not fully wilted that you can't can't see what it is. You can still see the greens in the dish. So really excited to try this. Here we are. Our greens are cooked down. Our potatoes are looking ready. Again, I gave it an extra 5 minutes to fully cook through because I noticed one of the potatoes was a bit on the harder side. So again, just piercing with the fork, and you can push it up against the pot and tell that it is fully ready. Okay, so from here, taking your jalapenos that you've chopped up, just toss it on in there, give it a nice stir, and now it is done. The only other thing I'm gonna toss in here, and if you don't have this, it's okay, is called basobela, and it is equivalent to basil. It's in the basil family. I keep this particular plant in the freezer, and this thing smells so good. I put it in most of my Ethiopian dish sauces after I'm done cooking. And since we are done cooking, I am actually going to shut the heat off, and the heat from all of the food and the pot, because I'm going to toss the basobela in here as well, just to give it a nice fragrance and just, again, an added flavor. I'm not entirely sure where you would be able to find this particular plant. If you know someone that grows it, wow, lucky you, because that's what happened to me. My dad grows it in his garden, and we continue to grow some here in our house as well. So just have you a little pot and grow some. It's so beneficial. Actually, in Ethiopia, they consider it a holy plant, but it's known as like an African basil. It's in that basil family. I'll try to put the description of it in the description below, and at least you can be able to find where to get it. All right, so our dish is done. Time to plate and eat. Just FYI, this is probably my favorite part, aside from the eating. Okay, right here. Let me just show you. All right, take a look. Bam! What? Only my real moms out there know why I'm celebrating for cooking all that food and having an empty sink. What? Yeah, I did that. I did. It's the best part, everybody. Time to taste, right? If you're wondering who's joining me to eat, nobody, right? If you're wondering, well, that must be a lot of food. No, it's not. What I serve this up with is my mesarwat, which is basically a red lentil stew. So this entire dish here is actually vegan. Yeah, I didn't put anything in here. So my vegan friends out there, really try this recipe out. I'm telling you, you will really love it. I'm actually going to post my next video on how to make this mesarwat, which is, again, another super simple recipe, but a great side dish. And it just balances out. Good amount of protein, very good amount of leafy greens in your body. And so let's go in. And this little spice here is that mitsmita. I like an extra kick, okay? So let's just taste this. I'm gonna break a piece of potato and just taste this by itself. I like to dip mine in a little spice. Anybody else dance when they do you get happy when you eat? Because I do. I did that. You did that if you tried this recipe. This is so good. You taste every little bit of flavor in here, and not to mention the kick in the spice, yeah? But gosh, please guys, you got to try this recipe. It is so good. I'm kind of eager to get another bite, but I don't want to like stuff my face here in front of you. But if you really enjoyed or found this recipe super helpful and easy, check out some of the other recipes, okay? I will be posting new videos, so if you haven't done so already, please consider to subscribe. And even click on the little bell notification. That way you can get notified when I'm posting new videos, including this mesarwat, right? So I can't wait to share with you more recipes, but now I'm gonna stuff my face. Love you guys. Thanks for joining and thanks for watching. See you again soon.